Erodz Customs, welcome back to our build, and we are going to take you through some of the things tonight on where we've been, what we've been doing. We kind of disappeared off the radar here for the last month or so. Things have been super hectic, a lot of things going on, trips to the hospital. It's just been nuts. So we kind of got things ordered and got things more in a row, and we're going to start really rolling on this thing. Hope to get it on the road in the next couple of weeks. We're going to take you through some of the things that we've done to the car. So far we've done a lot of things to the motor, the core support, the front suspension, and we'll take you through a little walkthrough and tell us what you think. Customs, we're going to take you through a little walkthrough of the motor and what we've done to that. A lot of people are interested about this. These LS motors are kind of crazy. Actually, I've been learning an awful lot about these things since we fired this thing up. I have about 12,000 miles on it the way that it is. We're going to try to push this envelope a little bit, and the way it sounds, that this is not even a huge push at all right now. What we're going to do is we're going to push about 15 pounds of boost into it, twin turbo it. And right now we swapped over, we swapped the heads out already. We changed those out. They're a ported 241 stock Corvette head, and then we swapped out, put different valve springs in them for the little bit more more pressure that the turbos are going to make. They try to push the exhaust valves open. So what we're going to do is we swapped those springs out already, and now we're just going to leave the stock bottom end in it, stock piston, stock rod, stock crank, all that. We're also, we've added ARP studs to it, and then also some LS9 head gaskets. We've redid all the front drive accessories. We've moved everything around, different side, different power steering pump, everything. Made all the brackets for those, machined all those. Those are all in place. The Yank torque converter, the 3000 stall converter is in it. Thank these guys over at Yank. Dave, a really great guy. He's set us up with a converter with that. We switched to a 4L80E. We have some modifications to do the wiring harness now. We're going to try to get that all modified and get this harness buttoned up tonight so we can start moving forward to the really cool stuff. We've also working on the core support, the exhaust. Everything is going to start to come together now. We've been kind of lacking with our updates and posts, so here we go. We're going to really roll with this thing, and let me take you through some of this other stuff that we've done with the core support. And you can kind of see with the stuff in here, and it's pretty empty, pretty vacant looking. We've really cleaned a lot of that stuff up, done some welding here to make the intercooler fit, smoothed everything out, made some modifications to the headlight buckets for more airflow, and this is where air filters are going to be. And let me take you over and show you what this thing kind of looks like, to show you where the way this whole front end comes together. Very complicated. It looks simple, but it really kicked my ass. Here we'd like to walk you through what we've been working on with this core support. This thing has been just a nightmare for me. Very technical in my book. A lot of people could probably do this easier, but we've come up with some different ways that I've ever seen anything done before. And what I wanted to do is make a lightweight core support that was really strong. Everything bolts onto, there's a lot of stuff that bolts onto this thing. The radiator gets mounted in here, the AC condenser gets mounted in here, the intercooler gets mounted on here, the horns mount on here, the hood pins are also going to mount on here, the headlight ballast will sit inside of there. The air cleaners come right through the center of it, and it's made to bolt together while the whole car is together. You don't have to remove the fenders, the front clip, or anything. There's still quite a bit more to come right now. The fenders bolt onto it, the grill bolts onto it, the headlight buckets bolt onto it. There's been a lot of time into this thing, and I thought the intercooler piping was going to be the hardest thing to fabricate so far. This has been it because it's got so many tilts and angles and curves to it. But I think we've overcome that. We've painted it with a black candy for right now, and that might change later on, but right now we want to get something coating on it to protect it from the weather and rock chips and so forth, because we're going to drive this car. So what we're going to do is take you through some of the other parts of the build and show you what we got going on. In the next week or so, we should be able to see all this stuff in the car. Everything that we've been working on fabricating should all start to come together now. We've mocked everything up quite a few times, kind of went through the routine of putting this thing together, so we're going to do some time lapse, also photography, and you should be able to see this whole thing come together in a short amount of time with the time lapse photography, and I hope you enjoy that. I think that's going to be kind of a fun thing, and we'll take you through the rest of the build and show you what we got going. Hey, I'd just like to run you through what we've done to the front suspension. We've made some modifications, not as much as we'd like to, but we're going to do some more changes with it. But for right now, we're going to run a couple of things as they were. We've changed the upper control arms on it. We've made some modifications for the airbags. We had a little rubbing issue before when we had the bags in there, and we've modified the arch on it. We've also added some caps and welded all that up on the frame. And now we are going to eventually switch out the brakes and lower control arms. So some of you are interested in the brake setup that's on it, those are definitely going to be for sale. We also have some other items that come off the car also that will be for sale also. So if you see anything that you're needing that's coming off of the car, let us know, and we could probably work out a really great deal. We've also want to take you through a couple other things. This is a drive shaft that came out of it. We've made this drive shaft before from scratch, had no idea that we're going to twin turbo it and add this much horsepower to it. If you have one of these cars, the X-body car from 58 to 64, they ran this same setup in it, and you have carrier bearing problems. Well, this is why. Right from the factory, the only way that this can slip is in and out of here. Well, your carrier bearing is fixed. So from the whole articulation of the rear suspension, the only thing that it can do is wiggle this carrier bearing out of its rubber until it breaks. That's why these cars were notorious for carrier bearing problems. Well, they have done some updates to them. What I've done is I've custom made this one with a fixed carrier bearing, but then it also has a slip yoke right here for your suspension travel to go in and out of. A 2-inch shaft is the only thing that really fits through this X-frame, but we're going to do some changes to that. We're going to try to get a 3-inch shaft up front, a 2.5-inch shaft, 1350 style U-joint, so this old drive shaft is going to be up for sale also. We have another one we're going to replace it with because we just didn't realize that we were going to go for something so crazy horsepower and torque-wise, and this is definitely going to be our weak link. We want to try to eliminate that. So that's it for the suspension mods for right now. We're definitely going to do some more to it as we come along. But the other thing that we have is I want to show you some exhaust coatings that we've had done. We've finished up all the welding on the exhaust and sent that out to a place in Forest Lake, which did some exhaust coatings, a ceramic coating for us. The Race Coatings is the name of the place in Forest Lake. They did an awesome job. And what they do is ceramic coat this, sandblast it, clean it all up, ceramic coat it, polish it, and it looks more of a polished stainless steel, semi-chrome look to it. And then we're going to get the rest of the exhaust system coated eventually too. Some of this we're going to wrap with wrap to keep the heat into the pipes and everything, but for right now we're going to start assembling this thing, and then everything is going to end up coming apart again anyways. So we're going to see what kind of heat builds up into the motor. We're going into the motor bay, and then we're also going to kind of play this by ear, see what happens, and we invite you along with our journey to follow this build along and see where we go with it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as we are right now. Things are really going to get exciting. Stay tuned for the next update, and we'll get back and on track again.